Hi there, and welcome to another exciting session of training provided by Quicksoft. In this chapter, we're going to cover another interesting topic, which is how do you control submission option when you're creating journal through Spreadsheet. Spreadsheet is an ADFDI format given by Oracle, which we use to create journals in Excel and then push it from Excel to GL journals automatically using the all the macro which is written in the ADFDI template. Yeah, but when you submit that template, there are list of options shown, and I always thought that there could be an option way to customize those options, or we could control those options. But good that Oracle has now introduced a functionality which we can use to configure those. Okay, so let's start. When you create journal through Spreadsheet, and when we have finished the data entry, we want to push the journal to GL. These are the submission option screen which are shown here. Yeah, all these option, we'll see how we can configure those options, how we can default certain values there. This is what this enhancement is all about, the new feature which is available, so that we can choose what should be defaulted and what should be shown on the screen. Yeah, recently there was a requirement in my project that they wanted to make sure that people who enter a journal should not be able to post the journal. Yeah, so in on the main screen we had hidden the posting button. Yeah, but on this screen I was trying to find out how do I hide this particular option, because there's no way for me to hide this option. Yeah, but good that now feature is available, which I will show you how it works. Yeah, as I mentioned, there can be business need to certain default certain option in this. By default it shows submit journal and import and posting, but maybe there's a business need to just say submit journal import. Yeah, because we don't want people to do posting. Yeah, and hide certain option. Even if I default this submit journal import, but if still user is able to select this option and submit, then it also defeats the purpose. I would like to have an option where I don't want them to have just save to interface. Yeah, but again, in some at some clients there could be requirement just to put in an interface table, and then there could be a scheduled job which will be pulling the journal later. Yeah, but ideal option would be submit journal import. Yeah, so the journal gets created. This one, depending upon the requirement of the client, may or can be hidden if required, so that the user is not able to choose those. All these import descriptive flex fill, this option if not relevant can be hidden, so that the user don't make a mistake in this. Now another new feature which they have added recently is defer account validation to journal import. So they're saying when I'm pushing from spreadsheet, don't do any validation, only when I do journal import, that time you validate any problems with the account. But that I maybe it depends upon the again the requirement and the scenario which you want to use, because I want the user to face the error directly in the spreadsheet and fix it, rather than looking at the journal output and then fix those issues. Yeah, so these are again, as I said, these are option and check boxes which can be relevant in certain situation, may or may not be relevant in such a certain situation. So there's no right or wrong option, these are all depending upon business need. Now there is an option, you may choose, you may use it, you may not use it. Yeah, so it's all up to what you want. Send email notification journal import failures, so this also can be enabled if required. Okay, to configure this we will be configuring a GLJ processing options lookup. This is a new lookup which will be defined, and then all these various options will be defined as lookup codes inside that, so that we can configure whether what to be done. There's a certain way to configure that which I will be showing you, and then set a default as required. We can also set for certain option when we are showing multiple option which one to default, and enable disable as required. So if you want to hide something, disable it. If you want to keep something, enable it. Yeah, I'm going to show you these options. Okay, so now let me show you this in action in the system. So in order to configure this submission option selection and the saving and all that, we need to define a lookup. So let's go and define a lookup. So I will search for manage common lookups. So here we need to define a lookup. Let me see if the lookup type is available or not. It's not available as expected, so we'll define this lookup type. This is lookup type, and then we'll put the meaning. Description you can put same, module you put general ledger, Yeah, rest we don't need to change anything. Now once you define this one, you can save. So far we just define the lookup type. Now the main thing which we define is the lookup various options inside this, which will start with the first one, which is our FND defaults. All these are code which are given in documentation. I'm just taking it from there and adding it here. You can refer to documentation link which I have given previously in my presentation. That will show you all the details. Yes, and then we can, this is enabled, and the meaning we can say default save. Yeah, so I have three options here. I'll just put here to show you. Then I can choose default save, or I can choose default import, or I can choose default import post. Remember, these are three options which you saw earlier in the spreadsheet. Yeah, so these are the three options which system will have. So depending on what option do you want, you can set this same required value in the meaning option here. Yeah, so I'm just choosing save. In this case, save is just to general import. I want the import option to be chosen, so I'm taking this one instead of save. Yeah, as I mentioned, all these what value to set are available in the documentation, so you can check. I just wanted to show you all these three options so you can choose accordingly. Now this is option 1, default submission option, which will be highlighted. Then I will add the rest of the parameter. After this, we have to add for all other values which we had in the system, right? Then I can set those, whether to hide or disable. This is for configuring the default selection. Now rest of the option I have to submit now. This option, FND hide save to interface, here first option which we had, I can put the same as a meaning here. If I enable this option, it will be shown. If I disable, it will not be shown. Yeah, you will see all that once I finish all this data entry. FND FDI hide. Yeah, so next one, let him put all this in the description also, you can see. Okay, let me finish this entry first. This is all for hiding. First one was for defaulting. This is all for hiding. Let me put in the description so it's, if it is visible. Yeah, so this is 2, 3, 4. Yeah, display sequence. After that, FDI hide no import DFF. All this you will see later on the screen. I'm going to show you one by one. And don't worry if you can't see the description completely here. You will be able to see that in the documentation. Yeah, I'm trying to show you the screen where relevant. 5, 6. So all these options which you see are currently I'm defaulting those. 7. Yeah, and then the next one. This is something I really appreciate, because Oracle has done this one so that we choose what to show to user. It's not that by default a user sees these things and then we say, oh no, we cannot do anything. With this functionality, at least user have a chance to decide whether they want to see this option or not see the option. Though in my experience, I haven't seen this request coming from many clients, but I see this as something which can be useful option. So now I say save. Now these options are saved. I'll go back to spreadsheet and see how the behavior changes. Okay. Let me click on the submit button and see whether any change happens here. Yeah. So now I will go back and see whether I make the changes and see those appearing in this session. You notice that the changes which I had done, nothing will show an effect. Yeah, even though the default import had changed. So in order for that to take effect, we should log out and log in again, because when you log in, that is the time system picks out new values. Okay, so I have logged out now. Let me go back to my options first again. Yeah, so this was for defaulting. All these are for hiding, and if hiding is enabled, that means everything should be hidden. So if I go now and I say if I want default import, so import I should unhide. That means it will default import and everything else will not be seen. I will save it. Yeah, now I go back to my Excel. I log out and I log in again. Yeah, now if I click on submit, I should see only one option that should be default selected also. Submit journal import. Yeah, that's all I need to do. Now let's play some more with these options. Yeah, let's say this one is fine. I don't want them to choose import or posting. That is fine. Then all other option for error, I want the email should go to a user. If there's any error in the import, I save it, and I go back to my Excel again. I log out and I log in again. This one you have to remember. If you forget to log in and then try to see why changes are not coming, then you will be confused why changes are not coming even though you're making the changes. Remember, it only after login takes effect. Now I should see two options, one for the error and one for submission. Yeah, submit journal import and this send email notification for journal. User can choose. At least now if you look at from submission option perspective, it's very simple for the user. There's no confusion. So the user can easily, this is defaulted, nothing to do, and this one optional. So end of the day, user can just click on submit. Yeah, which will submit the program. If no issues, it will go through as any other normal submission. All these changes which we are doing are not affecting in any way the default behavior of this spreadsheet. Only change all this validation, all this submission, everything what's happening will go through the normal way. Yeah, the only thing which you're changing is whether when you click on submit button, all what is shown to user, what to show, what not to show, what to default. Yeah, and to do this, you need to define this lookup type, and after the lookup type is defined, all this lookup code needs to be defined. And once defined, then you can choose what you want to show. These are all from 2 till 9 are all for hiding perspective. One is for defaulting. Yeah, so you choose, there are 3 options as I showed you. Then you can choose either option from those. Okay, you can save and close to complete this. In this chapter, you have understood how to control the submission option which are available when you are creating journal through spreadsheet, which is also called ADFDI. You can choose which option to default, especially for some save journal or import important posts. You can choose which one to default, and all the options which are available on the screen, you can choose which one to show, which one not to show. Okay, so now the control is in your hands. So when you're discussing with your user for the requirement, we can ask them that what do they want. If they don't want any change, then you do not need to define this lookup. But if you define this lookup, then you need to configure as I've shown you. After this configuration, then the control is in your hand. You can configure as per your user requirement. With this, we come to the end of this chapter. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and happy learning.